check. Well, howdy, partners. So good to see you. What I'd like to do today is play some country music. Does that approve? Wonderful. And I love coming here. You always make me feel so welcome. Thank you for coming. Have you heard of Ken Burns? You know, he does those documentaries. Well, I watched a documentary of country music. There were 8 episodes, 2 hours each. It said that's 16 hours of documentary on country music. It said that it took him 8 years to do it, and he had 175 hours of interviews. Well, I was so blown away by watching this thing. I went on the internet, and I searched for the top country artists of all time, and I found Rolling Stones 100 greatest country artists of all time. And for you, Rolling Stone, we're not talking about Mick Jagger and those guys. Rolling Stones is a monthly magazine that publishes articles about music, culture, and politics. So they put together a list of the 100 greatest country artists of all time. And let me tell you about the criteria that they used. First of all, they'd look at the record production. You know, how many records and albums they sold. Secondly, they were interested in the influence that these particular artists might have had on other artists. And thirdly, the third criteria was the overall impact that the artist had on country music. Okay? I gotta mention one more thing. I figured out that the date of birth of these artists was so important. In other words, if you were a country artist in the 1920s, you would have had now 100 years to sell records and influence other people and make an impact on country music, right? So, we're not going to do 100. We don't have time for 100. We're only going to do 21. But of those 21, only 4 of them are still alive. Okay? So at our age, you know, we're going to know all these people, I'm pretty sure. Okay? Pardon me? I wished I was one of them. But I love country music and, you know, want to do this. So, let me see, was there anything else I wanted to say? Well, let's start off with number 21, okay? His name was Harold Lloyd Jenkins. Does that ring a bell? Well, he knew that wouldn't be a good stage name, so he looked on a map, and he was taken by Conway, Arkansas, and then he saw Twitty, Texas. So his name is Conway Twitty, and he's number 21, and I've got the remote stenciled to my guitar here. So here we go, Conway Twitty. Now Conway, I don't know if you knew this, when Conway graduated from high school, he was signed up by the Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah, and his baseball career was interrupted because of the Korean War, 1951 to 53. So he went off to Japan to serve in the war. And after the war, when he was discharged and came back, the Phillies were still interested in him. But he had gotten Elvis Presley fever. He had heard Elvis Presley and just wanted to be a country singer. So he went to Memphis, Tennessee, hooked up with Sun Studios, and his career blossomed. Now, if you were a fellow who wanted to be a country singer and you had a #1 hit or 2 #1 hits, wouldn't you think you'd made it? Huh? Do you know how many #1 hits Conway Twitty had? 40. 40 #1 hits. And he died in 1959, at 59 years of age of an aortic aneurysm. So he really didn't have a very long career to make 40 #1 hits in country music. Okay? Now, There's a cute story about Conway Twitty. He graduated from seminary, and he was assigned to a church down south, and he went down there, and he got settled in, and he wanted to introduce himself to the parishioners. But it so happened that that this minister looked exactly like Conway Twitty. And so he wanted to introduce himself to his parishioners, so he knocked on the first door of an elderly couple. And the woman came to the door, opened it, and said, "Conway Twitty!" She said, "Pa, come on down, Conway Twitty's come to visit." And he said, "No, man." He said, "I'm the new minister." He says, "I'm just introducing myself to the parishioners." "Oh, okay." They sat and talked for a while, then he left. And he went to another house, and he knocked on the door, and this elderly woman came to the door. And she said, "Conway Twitty," she said, "I'm a big fan of your music." He said, "Oh, I'm sorry." He says, I'm not Conway Twitty." He says, "I'm the new Methodist minister." And he says, "I'm just introducing myself to the parishioners." Okay, so he left. And it wasn't quite working out the way he thought it was, this introduction business. So he said, "One more house." So he walked up to the next house, knocked on the door. He didn't hear anything. Nobody came. Knocked again, and hear pitter-patter coming to the door. And the door opened, and there was this gorgeous redhead, soaking wet from the shower. And she was bare except for a towel wrapped around her, clutched to her chest. And her eyes opened wide. She says, "Conway Twitty." He says, "Hello, darling." And that's one of his most popular songs. "Hello, darling. Nice to see you. It's been a long time. You're just as lovely as you used to be. How's your new love? Are you happy? Hope you're doing fine. Just to know it means so much to me." "What's that, darling? How am I doing?" "I'm doing all right, except I can't sleep, and I cry all night till dawn. But what I'm trying to say is I love you, and I miss you, and I'm so sorry that I did you wrong. Look up, darling, let me kiss you. Just for old time's sake, let me hold you in my arms one more time. And thank you, darling, and may God bless you. And make each step you take bring you closer to the things you seek to find. Goodbye, darling, gotta go now. Got to try to find a way to lose these memories of a love so warm and true. And if you should ever find it in your heart to forgive me, come back, darling, I'll be waiting for you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Number 20 is still alive. Yes, he's named King George. And I think you'll remember who he is. Excuse me, that didn't advance. Okay. George Strait. George graduated from high school, went into college, and when he left college with a degree in agriculture, Texas State University, he had a band in college. He was the lead singer. The name of the band was Ace in the Hole. And when he got out of college, his career blossomed as well. Now, He has more #1 hits than any other country artist ever. In fact, he has more #1 hits than any artist in any genre of music. He has 60 #1 hits. And to put it in perspective, in the rock and roll genre of music, the only group, the highest number of #1s in the genre of rock and roll are the Beatles, and the Beatles only had 20 #1 hits. So George Strait has the most. And here's a song that he did based on the band that he had in college. Well, you've got to have an ace in the hole, a little secret that nobody knows. Life is a gamble, a game we all play. You've got to save something for a rainy day. You've got to learn to play your cards right if you expect to win in life. Don't put it all on the line for just one roll. You've got to have an ace in the hole. Well, if you're walking down a one-way street and you're not sure it's the way you want to go, in money or love or all the above, have a little more than what you show. When life deals out a surprise, have a few surprises of your own. Don't put it all on the line for just one roll. You've got to have an ace in the hole. No matter what you do, no matter where you go, you've got to have an ace in the hole. Thank you. #20, King George. And he's #20 on our list. Okay? So the next one, ladies and gentlemen, is a fellow that you'll remember. Did he go? Yes. Roger, remember him for his novelty tunes, Chug-a-Lug and Dang Me and that kind of thing. He had a way of writing songs, he said, by scribbling ideas on little pieces of paper. And an interviewer later in life said, "What did you do with all those little scraps of paper?" He said, "I smoked them." Which was true, because he died at 56 years old from lung cancer. But he saw a sign when he was in Chicago that said, "Trailers for sale or rent." And he happened to have a discussion with a hobo long about that time. And he put the discussion with the hobo together with the trailer for sale and came up with the song, King of the Road, remember? So everybody knows it. You might remember this. She said she loves country music. Trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let, 50 cents. No phone, no food, no... Let's sing it. I smoke old stories, what I have found. Short but not too big around. I'm a man of means by no means. Here we go. Oh yeah. Third boxcar, midnight train. Destination Bangor, Maine. Old worn out suit and shoes. I ain't got no union dues. I smoke old stogies while I have found. Short but not too big around. I'm a man of means by no means. All right. I know every engineer and every train, and all of their children and all of their names, and every handout, every ground, and 8 o'clock going around. I say trailers. Rooms to rent, 50 cents. No phone, no food, no rent. I ain't got no cigarettes, but 2 hours of pushing them bikes. 8 2 more times, here we go. One more, big one. King of the road. Thank you. You sound like a rehearsal of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Okay, he was number 19. Number 18 was a fellow named Eddie Arnold. Do you remember him? He was known as the Tennessee Plowboy because at the age of 11, his father died and he had to quit school at 11 years old and work on the farm. He had the same manager that Elvis had, Colonel Parker. And so he charted 147 songs during his career. When I say he charted, Bob would be able to tell you this. There's a magazine that comes out every week called Billboard Magazine, and it charts the most popular songs in all of the genres, rock and roll, country, rap, whatever you want to, every week. And they have what they call the top 200, they have the top 100, they have the top 20, the top 10. And when I say charted, they never explain, well, is it the top 100 or the top 10? Rarely did they tell you. So, but he charted 147 songs. This one was in the top 10 of the pop chart, even though he was a country singer. Here we go. Make the world go away. Get it off of my shoulder. Say the things you used to say. You don't remember this, do you? Do you? Make the world go away. Your parents do it. Do you remember when you loved me? Before the world took me astray. If you do, then forgive me. Sing it. I heard somebody say, make the world go away. I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'll make it up day by day. If you say that you love me and make the world go away. One more time here, everybody. Oh, get it off of my shoulder. Say those things you used to say and make the world go away. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna wait a minute. See if you can guess who this fellow is. Number 17. He was a songwriter, a singer, a movie actor. He played in True Grit with John Wayne. And he would, let me see. He also, he grew up dirt poor. And he and his family picked cotton really in his life. But he became a great guitar player. Paul McCartney says he was a great guitar player. Anybody have a guess? Who? Glenn Campbell. Who said that? Great. Yeah. What a fellow. He, he was so good that he was a member of the Wrecking Crew. Are you familiar with them? It was that group of elite studio musicians in Los Angeles that backed up a lot of singers and had 100 or so #1 hits because they were such good players. He also filled in for the Beach Boys when Brian Wilson, their leader, didn't want to tour anymore. He played the bass, which is what Brian Wilson played, and went on tour with the Beach Boys singing falsetto with them. Yeah, okay, he was a great. He died at 81 of Alzheimer's. By the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be rising she'll find a note I left hanging on her door. She'll laugh just to think I really need her. Though time and time tried to tell her so. By the time I get to Albuquerque, she'll be working. She'll probably stop at lunch, give me a call. But she'll just hear that phone keep on ringing off the wall. That's all. By the time I reach Oklahoma, she'll be sleeping. She'll turn softly and call my name out low. She'll cry just to think I really leave her. Though time and time tried to tell her so, she just didn't know I could really go. Thank you. Thank you. That was number 17. There are 4 women on the list, and I apologize. I'm not going to do songs by all 4. I'm going to do a song by just one of them for 2 reasons. We don't have time. And secondly, I couldn't find songs by 3 of them that I felt were gender neutral, that I liked, you know, songs that both men and women could sing. So I ask your forgiveness. I apologize. But I certainly do recognize, and you'll see, that these women, you know, had a wonderful career and really influenced country music. So the first one is Tammy Wynette. Do you remember Tammy? She was married to George Jones. Tammy was married 3 times. She had 3 children by the age of 23. She had 22 #1 hits. What I found interesting was that she had a beautician's license when she started out, and she renewed that license throughout her career, just in case music didn't work out. But she had 22 #1 hits. Apologize, I'm not going to do anything by her, but she certainly had tremendous influence on rock and roll. The next one, number 15, is none other than Ray Price. And Ray Price, oh, excuse me, didn't I go to her earlier? Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't done this before. This is the first time I've done this. So Ray Price was one of the best voices in Nashville. When Hank Williams died in 1953, Ray Price took over Hank Williams' band, but he got tired of that honky-tonk kind of sound, so he was an innovator. He started adding background vocalists and strings to his recordings, and everybody loved it, because up to that point, a lot of country music was cut time, 2/4 time. It had a nice lilt to it. He had what they call the Ray Price beat, which was 4 beats to a measure. And this song is that kind of a song. Let me tell you a little about the song. It's about a young couple who are going to break up, but they decide to make love for just one more time. See, it's a Ray Price beat. Don't look so sad, I know it's over. Life goes on, and this old world will keep on turning. Let's just be glad we had some time to spend together. There's no need to watch the bridges that were burning. Sing it if you know it. Lay your head upon my pillow. Hold your warm and sexy body, close to mine. Hear the whisper of the raindrops blowing soft against the window. Make believe you love me one more time. For the good time. For the good time. Great Price, number 15. Number 14 was none other than Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys. Do you remember him? His most famous song was Rose of San Antone. And he said that that song took his bands from... Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I did change it. I'm sorry, I told you I'm not used to this contraption here. I should have you doing this for me. My lovely wife, Nancy. He said that that song, Rose of San Antone, took his band from hamburgers to steaks. And he was quite a character. You won't believe this. He played the violin, and he'd walk around stage, prance around like a peacock. And he would insert these jivey lyrics like, oh, or my San Antonio Rose, while the singer was singing the song. Well, he drank a little bit. He enjoyed his adult beverages. And he had 5 divorces in 6 years. Okay, here we go. Deep within my heart lies a melody, a song of San Antone, where in dreams I live with a melody, beneath the stars all alone. It was there I found, beside the alamo, enchantment strange as it blew up above, a lonely path that only she would know. So here's my broken song of love. Moon in all its splendor, no more in my heart. Bring back my rose, rose of San Antone. Lips so sweet and tender, like they'll fall apart. Call back my rose, rose of San Antone. Broken song, deep words I know, still live in my heart all alone. For that lonely path beside the alamo, and rose, my rose of San Antone, and rose, my rose of San Antone. 14, thank you. 13. The next one, I'm sure you'll remember him. His name was Elvis something Owens. It escapes me at the moment. But when he was 4 years old, he walked into his family's kitchen and he said to his mother and father at 4 years old, he says, "My name is Buck," because Buck was their family donkey. And they said, okay. So he became Buck Owens. Yes. And you probably remember him from Hee-Haw, one of the longest running shows on TV. I think it ran for 25 years with Roy Clark and all of that. Yeah. And he passed away at a young age. I think he was only 56. I'm not sure, after he played at a club. So here's a song. It's about a fellow who was jilted by his girlfriend. And he was so sad and lonely that he got a job in movies playing a fellow that was sad and lonely. But the thing was, he couldn't act, okay? And this song was covered by none other than Ringo Starr. You remember him? They're gonna put me in the movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me. We'll make a song about a man that's sad and lonely. All I gotta do is act naturally. I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. Might win an Oscar, you can never tell. The movie's gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. Well, I hope you come and see me in the movies. Then I know that you will plainly see the biggest fool that ever hit the big time. 'Cause all I gotta do is act naturally. Bob knows all the words to this song. Oh. A big scene about a man that's sad and lonely, begging down upon his bended knee. I'll play the parts, but I won't need to rehearse them, 'cause all I gotta do is act naturally. They're gonna put me in the movies. They'll make me a big star out of me. They'll play the part, but I won't need to rehearse them, 'cause all I gotta do is act naturally. I hope you come and see me in the movies. Then I know that you will plainly see the biggest fool that ever hit the big time. All I gotta do is act naturally. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, the next one is the woman whose song I'm gonna do. And I think you know who she is. She sang a song recorded by Willie Nelson. He sold the song for $40, by the way. And it made millions and millions of dollars because this woman sang it. She died in an airplane accident at the age of 30 at the height of her career. Who was it? Patsy Cline. The best. Yeah. And you know, they asked Willie, do you regret selling that song for $40? He said, you know, songs are like paintings. He says, you do a painting, you hang it on the wall, and then you start another one. He said, you write a song, give it away or sell it, and start another one. So he obviously wasn't too upset. Here we go. Crazy, crazy for feeling so lonely. Yes, I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue. I do. You love me as long as you wanted, and then someday you'd leave me for somebody new. Worry, why do I let myself worry? Wondering what in the world would I do? Crazy for feeling so lonely. Yes, I'm crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for trying, but I'm crazy for loving you. Thank you so much, Patsy Cline. All right, 11. Well, next one. Kenny Burns said that this fellow started it all. They call him the father of country music. And he started recording back in the 1920s. That's before anybody here, right? Yeah. And Before he made it big, he supplemented his music income by working on the railroad. They called him the singing brakeman. Any idea who he was? Jimmy Rogers. Sure. And, oh, excuse me. Well, I got way ahead of myself, didn't I? Oh, boy, I'm sorry. Have I been ahead of this all the time? I must have hit it 3 times. You should have done this. So anyway, unfortunately, you know, he contracted tuberculosis. And he died at 33 years of age in 1935. But he wanted to die with his boots on, and he performed right up until the end. They say he was doing a concert very near the time he died, and he was coughing a lot on stage. And someone in the audience raised their hand and said, "Spit it up, Jimmy, and sing us another song." Really something. So in the early 20s, this song wouldn't have been too old. It was written in 1899, but he made it famous. And it's about a woman, a young lady, who was 22 years old. Her name was Frankie. And she shot her 17-year-old lover because he was unfaithful. What was her name? Johnny, Frankie and Johnny. So it's a great song. You have to listen to the words. I think they're really something. Frankie and Johnny were sweethearts. At least that's the way the story goes. Frankie bought everything for Johnny, from his sports car to his Ivy League clothes. He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Yeah, you know it, right? Let me tell you what happened. A woman came running to Frankie. She said, "You know, I'd never tell you no lies, but I saw your man riding in a sports car with a chick named Nellie Bly. If he was your man, he was doing you wrong." Well, the story continues. Frankie ran around the corner. She looked in a swinging place, and there she saw Johnny with a woman. He had his arms around her waist. He was a man, but he was doing her wrong. Now, what happens? Frankie went into her pocketbook, and up with a loaded 45. She shot once, twice, 3 times, and Johnny fell on the hardwood floor. He was her man, but she shot him because he was doing wrong. Yeah, and the last thing he said was, "Frankie, why did you do it, Frankie? You know that I love you, Frankie. I always love you, Frankie. I was telling her about you, Frankie. You know that I love you, yeah." Oh, thank you. I appreciate it so much. Okay, number 10. This fellow is still alive. He was born in 1962, so he'd be what? 70-something or 72 years old? I can't, 60, I don't know. I was a math teacher. Okay, and well, let me tell you this was. He graduated from college and immediately went into the Army. And it was Oklahoma State. And he got a degree in advertising at Oklahoma State. And while he was there, he had his own band, and he played in various clubs around college, and he also served as a bouncer in some of those clubs around college. And I understand he played anything. He liked rock and roll. But then he heard George Strait, and he settled on country music. And listen to this. I'll ask you some questions. I love to ask questions, because I was a school teacher. So anyway, if you sell 500,000 records, you earn yourself a gold record. I heard it. If you sell 1 million records, you own yourself a platinum record. If you sell 10 million records, what do you earn? A diamond record. This fellow, Mr. Brooks, has sold 9 diamond records, more than any other artist in any genre of music. To put that in perspective, the Beatles only sold 6 diamond records. And the new phenom in a woman singer, Taylor Swift, she only has 2 diamond records. So he has 9 diamond records. And this is a song that is more or less his signature song. It's about a cowboy who gets drunk and destroys his ex's wedding party. Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots and ruined your black tie affair. The last one to know, I was the last one to show, I was the last one you thought you'd see there. Well, I saw his surprise, the fear in his eyes, when I poured that of champagne. Said, honey, I toasted you, said, honey, we may be through. You never hear me complain. Oh, I got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. Yes, I'll be okay. Yes, I'm not big on social graces. Think I'll slip on down to the oasis. Oh, I've got friends low places. Well, I guess I was wrong. I just don't belong. But hell, I've been there before. Everything is alright. I'll just say goodnight and I'll show myself to the door. Honey, I didn't mean to cause a big scene. Just give me an hour and then I'll be as high as the ivory tower. You never know. I've got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. Yes, I'll be okay. Yes, I'm not big on social graces. Think I'll slip on down to the oasis. So I got friends in low places. Well, I've got friends in low places. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, you notice he had a headset mic on, and he was very energetic on stage. You know, something like Mick Jagger. He'd, run around the stage, and that wasn't very common in country music. You know, they just sat there and played. So he really appealed to a lot of folks. Okay, that's number 10. Number 9, let me see. Number 9. Some people think he's the best country music singer of all time. Frank Sinatra said he was the number 2 singer in America. And when they asked Elvis who his favorite country singer was, he said, "Do you mean besides George Jones?" Yeah, came up. And George Jones had a problem. He was a violent alcoholic. He didn't show up for a lot of his gigs, and they called him No-Show Jones. Cute story. He ran out of booze one night, and he wanted to make a booze run into town, but his wife took his car keys. So he jumped on his lawnmower and drove it into town to the liquor store. George Jones. So here's a song, probably one of his best songs. I hope I don't put you to sleep. It's about a man whose significant other left him. And he continued to love her. And we don't find out until like the third or the fourth verse, that the only reason he stopped loving her was he died. And let me think. Alan Jackson sang this song at George Jones's funeral. George was 81 when he passed away. I understand he got his act together later in life. He was in an automobile accident and straightened out. But here we go. He said, I'll love you till I die. She said, you'll forget in time. As the years went slowly by, she still preyed upon his mind. He had some pictures on his wall. Went that crazy now and then. He still loved her through it all, hoping she'd come back again. Kept some letters by his bed, dated 1962. He had underlined and read every single I love you. Well, I went to see him just today. But I didn't see no tears. All dressed up to go away. First time I've seen him smile in years. He still loves her today. They place a wreath upon his door, and soon they'll carry him away. He stopped loving her today. Well, she went to see him one last time, and we all wonder if she would. It is still preyed upon my mind. This time, he's over her for good. He stopped loving her today. They place a wreath upon his door, and soon they'll carry him away. He stopped loving her today. Thank you. George, yes, George Jones. Okay, number 8 was another woman. And this woman is probably the most successful country artist. She's the wealthiest country artist. She has a theme park down in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Her name is, and darn it. Oh, the batteries must have gone. Oh, there she is. And, you know, it's have you been to her theme park? It's really so. It's given so much work to so many thousands of people. There's a complete city around this theme park in Pigeon Forge. And if you walk around the park, there are always a lot of little groups playing. And they always say, oh, that fellow on the left is Dolly's uncle. Or that girl singing in the chorus over there, that's Dolly's niece. You know, all of her relatives. She's still alive, of course. And when she was a young kid there at Pigeon Forge, she really idolized this trollop because of the way she dressed. So she copied the way she dressed, and that's why she dresses the way she does today. And an interviewer said, Dolly, why do you dress like that? She says, it costs a lot of money to look this cheap. So anyway, I'm not going to do a song by Dolly, I apologize, but boy, what an influence she's had on country music, right? Okay, number 7 and number 8, we ought to preface this by saying they're outlaws. Do you know what outlaws are in country music? Well, over the years, country music sweetened and got polished by some of the producers in Nashville. They added background singers, they added strings, they added complete orchestras to country music. And there were a lot of folks that didn't like that, called outlaws. You know, they wanted country music to sound raw and rough, the way it first sounded when they performed it on stage, right? And they didn't dress like the people at the Grand Ole Opry, who wore sequins and rhinestones and suits. They dressed like this. You know, they had jeans and boots and leather vests and cowboy hats, and they smoked on stage, you know? And these next two fellas are country outlaws. The next one, number 7, is Waylon Jennings. And you know, Waylon played bass in Buddy Holly's band in that fateful tour in 1959 when February 3rd, Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Ritchie Valens were killed. Do you remember that? He didn't get onto the plane. There were only 4 people on the plane, the pilot and 3 other people. So he survived. Dion was also on that tour. And I understand Dion gave up his seat to somebody on the plane. So anyway, he's a great fellow. And Waylon Jennings, he died at 64 years old of diabetes. The only 2 things in life that make it worth living is guitars tuned good and firm, feeling women. I don't need my name on the marquee lights. I've got my songs and I've got you with me tonight. Maybe it's time we got back to the basics of love. Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas, Waylon and Willie and the boys. This successful life we're living's got us feuding like the Hatfields and the boys. Just like Hank Williams' Pain songs, Newberry's Train songs, and Blue Eyes Crying in Rain. Out in Lukenbach, Texas, ain't nobody feeling no pain. Well, baby, let's sell your diamond rings, buy some boots and faded jeans, and go away. This coat and tie, they're choking me, and in your high society, you cry all day. We've been so busy keeping up with the Jones, 4-car garage, and we're still building on. Maybe it's time we got back to the basics of love. One more time. Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas, Waylon and Willie and the boys. This successful life we're living's got us feeling like the Hatfields and the boys. Just like Hank Williams' Pain songs, Newberry's Train songs, and Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Out in Lukenbach, Texas, ain't nobody feeling no pain. Out in Lukenbach, Texas, ain't nobody feeling no pain. Thank you. Hey, about 20 years ago, I took a motorcycle tour down to Texas, and I passed through Lukenbach. So I thought I'd stop, and in the middle of town, there's this little gazebo, and there were a bunch of people in there picking, you know, playing country music. And I sat down next to a fellow, and he had a Martin guitar like this, made right here in Nazareth. And I said to him, you know, I live where they play that, where they make that guitar. He was duly impressed. So he said, would you like to play it? So I did. I went up on that gazebo and I played something. I don't remember what I played. 20 years ago, it probably wasn't too good. But anyway, I enjoyed myself. Cute little place. Okay, that's number. The next one is another country outlaw, a good friend of Waylon Jennings. And you'll know who this fellow is. He's still alive. He's 90 years old. He loves to get on his tour bus and get on the road. He's, Willie Nelson. Yeah, he's made 30 movies. I understand he's co-written about 3 books. He's written 330 some songs, and he's spearheaded the movement to legalize marijuana. And I understand he doesn't smoke marijuana anymore because of his throat, and singing. He gets his marijuana in cookies and cakes and all that kind of. So Willie is really tremendous. Here we go. Here's a song that he made famous. Oh, I have some more to tell you about that. His accountants, Price Waterhouse, didn't pay his taxes for several years. And he ended up owing $17 million. Well, the IRS auctioned off all of his stuff, his house, his tour buses, his gold records, all of that. And the bottom line is that everybody loves Willie. And all of his friends bought all of his stuff and gave it back to him after he cleared his debt. And he's got an album on the charts. Maybe you own it, called Standards. It's got Moonlight in Vermont and Georgia and all those kinds of songs on. It's been on the charts for 10 years. Do you own it? Anybody? Okay, here we go. On the road again. Just can't wait to get on that road again. Life of love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on that road again. On the road again. Going places that I've never been. Seeing things that I might never see again. I can't wait to get on that road again. On the road again. Like a band of gypsies rolling down that highway. We're the best of friends, and insisting that the world keep turning our way. On the road again. Yee-haw. Just can't wait to get on that road again. Life of love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on that road again. Yes, I can't wait to get on that road again. Well, I can't wait to get on that road again. Willie Nelson. Okay. The next one is the first family of country music, the Carter family. Mother Maybelle was the matriarch of the family, and they started recording in 1927. And, they recorded through the Great Depression, which started in 1929, but nobody was buying records during the Depression. But they were broadcasting on the radio from Del Rios, Mexico. And this station in Mexico was so powerful. It reached San Francisco from Mexico, it reached Chicago, it reached New York City, so everybody was listening to them. And, some of these people didn't have electricity in their homes, according, and so they would hook up their radio to the battery of their Model T or their Model A Ford. But they would crowd around and listen to the Carter family. Now, Maybelle Carter did something that was fantastic. We owe guitar players worldwide owe her a tremendous debt of gratitude because she created a way of playing the guitar called cross-picking. Everybody uses it in country music and elsewhere. I've been using it all night long, and let me tell you about it. Before cross-picking, people would do this. They would block chord all their songs. But she took a bass part, and I was a bass player for 25 years, so I love the bass part in these songs. And then she took the mandolin part, which always is the backbeat, and she combined them. So on this song that she wrote, it's got its inspiration from a person in a wheelchair who insisted upon being pushed down the sunny side of the street. So before her, people would, would have sung it this way. There's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. But her cross-picking changed it. Listen to this. Well, there's a dark and a troubled side of life. Hear the bass. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Much lighter, much happier, much airier. Oh, it's wonderful. Everybody uses it. But though we meet with the darkness inside, the sun again will shine bright and true. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way if we reach on the sunny side of life. Though the clouds and the storm broke today, crushing hopes that we cherish so dear, clouds and storms will in time pass away. The sun again will shine brightly. One more time. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way if we keep on the sunny side of life. Okay, we got to move on. Number 4 is another woman. Her name is Loretta Lynn. Okay, Loretta Lynn was married to Oliver Doolittle when she was 14 years old. They had 6 children, and they had a very rocky marriage. They stayed married for 50 years, but it was rocky. But she recorded 16 albums. A lot of the work she wrote herself from their experiences in this marriage, like "Don't Come Home Drinking, Expecting Some Lovin'," was a song she wrote. Okay, but you know, she wrote a song called "Stand By Your Man," and she did stand by Oliver Doolittle for 50 years. But she didn't record the song. She gave it to Tammy Wynette, who was divorced 3 times. Okay, so I'm not going to do a song by her. But I mean, you can't deny the impact she's had on country music, right? Okay, so now we're down to the top 3. Oh, you've been waiting all night. And, you know, I don't agree with this list, but what are you going to do? There are lots of different lists depending upon the criteria. Some lists are based solely upon record sales, and it would be totally different than this. Okay, so here's the top 3. You're going to know 2 of the top 3 people, guaranteed. But I think you're going to be really surprised by number 1. Okay? Number 3 is the Man in Black. Johnny Cash, yes. Johnny Cash, a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Country Hall of Fame, and the Gospel Hall of Fame. Great guy. Well, I hear that train coming, rolling round the bend. Ain't seen the sunshine since side of the wind. I'm stubborn, folks in prison, time to dragging on. But that train keeps a rolling on down to San Antonio. Well, when I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. You hear this, when I hear that lonesome rhythm, I hear the servant cross-picking. Well, I bet there's rich folks eating and fancy dining cars, bet you're drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. I know I got it coming, thank you, though I can't be free. When I hear that lonesome whistle, that's what tortures me. Well, they freed me from this prison, the railroad train was mine. Then I'm moving on a little farther down the line. Far from folks in prison, that's where I want to stay. And I lit that lonesome whistle blown my blues away. Johnny Cash. Okay, number two, I'm sure you're going to know him. He was admitted to the Grand Ole Opry in 1949, and he got 6 standing ovations. They couldn't get him off the stage, and they had a radio show to do. The time, was running out. They pulled him off the stage, and they fired him 3 years later because he drank too much, and he wouldn't show. He abused drugs as well, and he wouldn't show up for gigs, and he had a very sad life. He wrote, well, you know who it is, right? Hank Williams. He was on an airplane with little Jimmy Dickens. Remember little Jimmy from the Grand Ole Opry? He was only 4'11" tall. And he was a cheerleader in high school, and he was so little the cheerleaders used to throw him around. But he's bigger than his guitar. But he was on a plane with Hank, and Hank said, little Jimmy, he said, you need a hit record. And so Hank wrote this song, according to little Jimmy, in 15 minutes. And he recorded it. It sounded so good that Hank kept it for himself and didn't give it to little Jimmy. But anyway, Hank had only 11 #1 hits because he passed away when he was only 29 years old. Dedicate this to all the women. Hey, good looking, what's your cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? Hey, sweet baby, don't you think maybe we could find us friend who doesn't agree? I got a hot rock poured out to Bonneville. I know a spot right over the hill. There's sort of my band dancing free. So when you want to have fun, come along with me. Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? How's about cooking something up with me? Thank you, everybody. Okay, #1. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Maybe you can guess who he was. When he was 14, he was thrown in a detention home for truancy from school. And after he got out, he was thrown into a lot of other jails and detention homes because he wrote some bad checks, and he shoplifted a bunch of things, not anything very serious. So over the next several years, he escaped from detention 17 times. So they finally threw him into San Quentin prison where he couldn't escape. And he turned his life around when he heard Johnny Cash come to San Quentin. So he joined the San Quentin Country Band, and he became one of the best songwriters in Nashville. He wrote 250 songs. He had 36, I think, #1 records. Do you know who we're talking about? I know. I would have picked Johnny Cash for #1. Whenever I go out, people just want to hear Johnny Cash. But, they say, he's #1. Merle Haggard. Okay? So anyway, Merle, as I say, was a great songwriter. And this song that he made famous in 1969 is unexplainable. Because in 1969, we were in the middle of the Vietnam War, and people were burning their draft cards, etc. The hippie movement was there, and the hippies were smoking marijuana and doing LSD and letting their hair grow long. And he wrote a song that slammed the hippies. And it became a huge success, because he grew up in Oklahoma. He was an Okie. And Oklahoma is the heart of the United States, the heartland of the United States. So here's a song. This was a real popular hymn, unexplainable. Here we go. We don't smoke marijuana in the Spokane. We don't take our trips on LSD. We don't burn our trap cards down on Main Street. 'Cause we like living right, being free. We don't make a party out of loving. We like holding hands and pitching woo. We don't let our hair grow long and shaggy, like hippies out in San Francisco do. Yeah, I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee, a place where even squares can have a ball. We still wave Old Glory down at the courthouse. White lightning's still the biggest thrill of all. Leather boots are still in style from man-made footwear. Beads and Roman sandals won't be seen. Football's still the roughest game on campus, and the friends here still respect the college team. One more time. Yeah, I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee, place where even squares can have a ball. We still wave Old Glory down at the courthouse. White lightning's still the biggest thrill of all. White lightning's still the biggest thrill of all. In Muskogee, Oklahoma, USA. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience. I appreciate it. I had a good time. I hope you did too. But I'd like to... This is a great song to end with, and I really mean it. It was done by the king of the cowboys, Roy Rogers, and his wife wrote it. Her name was Dale Evans, and his horse was named Trigger. Oh, I'm telling you. Very good. I love this song. It means a lot to me, and I really mean it for you. You've been a great audience. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm sorry we ran over. But you're just going to go back to your room and watch television anyway, right? Thank you. Thank you.
Keep going, honey.